Formwork safety starts before concrete is placed. Formwork includes the forms into which concrete is poured, and the framing and bracing that provide support and stability during assembly, pouring, and curing. Keep those parts together in the planning picture: forms, framing, and bracing, then assembly, pouring, and curing. This animation is a teaching diagram only, not an engineered formwork design or pour plan. This video uses current approved New South Wales WHS guidance with jurisdiction-specific application. Local adoption and requirements must be checked. Do not treat one jurisdiction's code as binding law throughout Australia. If the work is outside New South Wales, check current material from the relevant WHS or OHS regulator. The official sources for this video are SafeWork New South Wales and current New South Wales WHS legislation listed with the approved guide. Formwork should be designed before erection, with sufficient calculations, analysis, testing, or examination to confirm it can support imposed loads and is fit for purpose. The sequence in that approved wording matters: design before erection, sufficient calculations, analysis, testing, or examination, imposed loads, and fitness for purpose. The generic lines on screen explain that sequence only. They are not design calculations, engineering verification, or approval for a real structure. The approved claim connects imposed loads and fitness for purpose. Formwork should be designed before erection, with sufficient calculations, analysis, testing, or examination to confirm it can support imposed loads and is fit for purpose. Do not read the moving load blocks as quantities, limits, or a pour rate. No technical threshold or site-specific instruction is being given. The visual simply keeps the design question connected to the loads the formwork must support and its intended fitness. Formwork risks should be controlled through a systematic process that identifies hazards, assesses risks where needed, applies the hierarchy of control, and regularly reviews controls. Follow that approved sequence on screen. Identify hazards, assess risks where needed, apply the hierarchy of control, and regularly review controls. The process is shown as a cycle because review returns the team to the controls. It does not guarantee the absence of injury, enforcement action, audit findings, or legal consequences. The hierarchy of control sits inside the systematic process. The approved claim is that formwork risks should be controlled through a systematic process that identifies hazards, assesses risks where needed, applies the hierarchy of control, and regularly reviews controls. The animation does not prescribe a control for a real site. It shows the order of the approved process and the need to review controls, without adding a duty, threshold, license rule, or technical instruction. Information, training, and instruction for formwork must cover the nature of the work, associated risks, and the control measures to be implemented. Those three subjects stay connected: the nature of the work, the associated risks, and the control measures to be implemented. A completed learning card is not proof that operational duties are complete. Implementation, consultation, training, controls, records, and evidence remain necessary in practice. A SWMS must be prepared before high-risk construction work starts and must identify the work and risks, describe the controls, and explain how the controls will be implemented, monitored, and reviewed. The sequence is before the work starts, then identification, controls, implementation, monitoring, and review. This generic document animation is not a SWMS and does not represent a site-specific document, approval, or completed operational duty. Formwork deck penetrations should be securely covered with fit-for-purpose material or protected by suitable edge protection or guarding. The visual shows two abstract protected states: securely covered or protected by suitable edge protection or guarding. It does not provide dimensions, materials, installation details, or an engineered solution. Do not use this animation as a drawing or instruction for a real deck. Apply the approved wording to the actual work through the competent people and processes required for that site. Completed formwork should be inspected by a competent person before concrete loading, and the assembly should be monitored during concrete placement for signs of movement or failure. First, hold the sequence at completed formwork. Next comes competent person inspection before concrete loading. The green inspection state is an educational checkpoint only. It is not an inspection certificate, engineering sign-off, or evidence that a real formwork assembly has been accepted. Completed formwork should be inspected by a competent person before concrete loading, and the assembly should be monitored during concrete placement for signs of movement or failure. The second part continues during placement. Monitor the assembly for signs of movement or failure. The moving indicator is deliberately generic. It is not a sensor reading, tolerance, failure criterion, or pour instruction. For real work, use the approved site controls and competent person arrangements that apply. Remember the approved sequence: forms, framing, and bracing, design before erection, a systematic risk process, information, training, and instruction, ASWMS before high-risk construction work, protected deck penetrations, competent person inspection before concrete loading, and monitoring during placement. This is current approved New South Wales WHS guidance with jurisdiction-specific application. Local adoption and requirements must be checked. Generic animation and documents do not automatically complete operational duties. Implementation, consultation, training, controls, records, and evidence remain necessary. No guarantees. Get started free. https://app.bluesafeonline.com/register